I came to Eritrea in a time of peace. I came to meet women artists in 1994 for my book project. Elsa Jacob and Terhas Iyasu became my friends and travel companions. Village life is the heart of Eritrea, and I enjoyed the customs, the traditions of the people. We went together with our sketchbooks to visit towns and villages throughout Eritrea. The mother is the tree of life. She has deep roots that reach into the land, that hold the sorrow of wars and loss of life. But within her body are branches, young, new branches of life beginning again, of life and hope, of men and women working together. Baskets that are like the journey of the country, a nation that is still in process. The baskets are containers of food, dreams, and hope for the future. Eritrea is a small nation in northeast Africa, bordering the Red Sea, Ethiopia, Sudan, and Djibouti, composed of 9 major ethnic groups that are Christian, Muslim, and traditional peoples. In 1995, I was asked to come back to Eritrea by the Ministry of Education, the U.S. Embassy, and Berhane Adonai, director of the Asmara School of Art. This was different from teaching in Oregon with many young people who had been in the war, and a new experience of how to reach them, to reach themselves. I was sharing with them who I was as an artist, what my experiences had been, not only in Oregon, but in many world areas, with other artists in many different cultures. I wanted them to see what I saw in their culture, in their environment. I would show them the sketches that I would make each day before and after I came to class. The women, the men, the children. What I found beautiful, and encouraged them to tell me what they hoped to find beautiful in remaking their lives since their war experiences. These young artists inspired me to look very carefully at what was around myself when I lived in Eritrea and what they would see in their daily lives. One of the projects was symbolic self-portraits, a sense of their experiences of the past, who they were at this moment in transition, and their dreams, their hopes for the future. Elsa saw her future as that of an artist, so one hand held a sculpture tool, the other the paintbrush, and this was her dream. Terhas preferred to focus on women and the cultural aspect of their lives, the diversity, 2 different hairstyles, different earrings, grinding grain. This was what brought them all together, the work, the food, her cultural heritage, and what the experience is like. At the end of 6 weeks, the students had an exhibit sponsored by the United States Embassy. This was a first for young Eritrean artists. The exhibit showed so much, so honestly, the pain and suffering of young people during their time of war. It also showed the hope, the promise for the future. When I returned to Ashland, my students at Southern Oregon University became excited about the work I was sharing from Eritrea. Gradually, in my own studio, the body of images that I was creating grew. I wanted to go beyond the sketches of my Eritrean students from the Asmara workshop. I was able to get a grant for Brian Varaday and myself to go back to Eritrea and film the Eritrean artists in war and peace. I wanted my students at Southern Oregon University to really meet them and to learn more about their past. I was so pleased to be invited to Elsa's home. Meeting her family, her husband, her children was a powerful experience. I learned a lot from seeing paintings that were done during the war years, autobiographical stories of what it was like to be a woman fighter. Work that held the pain, the suffering of being in the war, but also the woman hero. Elsa before her children, Elsa in the war, holding a grenade, the woman unafraid of holding a Kalashnikov, of facing the enemy, being the fighter that would fight for Eritreans' freedom from Ethiopia. The strength of this young woman, this artist who is standing before me, now a young mother, and what she looked like during the time of war. From woman warrior to woman hero, to woman mother, Elsa was also painting her future. Reading Terhas and meeting her family, enjoying the coffee that we shared, and going into her room, she was like a cultural historian of the war experience from a woman's perspective. It held the many paintings she did of different cultures she encountered. It held the pain of the war, and especially the emphasis on mothers and children. Her daughter Martha was born in the war zone. The theme of children would go beyond the war, and in her more recent work as an illustrator for the Ministry of Education, she created books that would connect English and Tigrinya through pictures, through diagrams, and this is the joy she had during peace. From 1998 to 2000, a border war broke out between Eritrea and Ethiopia, and many lives were lost. I imagined one day when I saw women sharing food. There was a festival, a particular festival in the village of Waki, how these grandmothers on both sides of the border, Eritreans, Ethiopians, grandmothers sharing the dream of peace. Eritrea won the border war, and soon children were jumping rope again.
Au-détour de la ressemblante que les fantômes du passé Gore.
From my Ashland, Oregon studio to Washington, D.C., to Chicago and Dallas, Texas, the paintings traveled around the country. In Washington, D.C., there's a large community of Eritreans, and many came to see my exhibit. It was also a workshop for children. They were so surprised and delighted by the compassionate portrayal of their cultural heritage. Afterwards, there was a big celebration that ended with lots of traditional dancing. I wanted these paintings to have a permanent home, and in 2016, that became a reality. At the invitation of the Eritrean government, my paintings finally arrived in Eritrea, and I was invited to come for their opening reception. It was such a pleasure to see some of the people I worked with in 1995 here still. Eritreans considered these paintings part of their national heritage, village life. Mothers and children, boys herding animals, fetching water, people drinking tea, sharing food, processing grain, market day, the border war, war-torn villages, camps for displaced people. Unfortunately, the boundary hasn't been respected. However, Eritreans are resilient and continue to work for a peaceful resolution. I cannot think of a more exceptional gift for an artist to feel that the nation that inspired the work has welcomed these works back into their land and to be shared with the people. It's an extraordinary gift I have received, and I'm very, very grateful, but also have a lot of pride in the fact that this connection was made and will live on.